Welcome, everybody. I am Jesse Mogul, and thank you for joining us on the American Contingency Podcast. We are a united nationwide community of steadfast Americans ready for any challenge that comes our way. We inform, equip, and train so you can prepare, respond, and recover from any man-made or natural disaster or situation. And as always, I love joining y'all here on the podcast. It's an opportunity for me to speak directly to members of American Contingency, future members of American Contingency, those who just mildly express some interest in making sure you're prepared for things that are unforeseen at any given Tuesday when the detour causes you to have to reroute yourself and find a different way to your destination. The beautiful thing about summer is that for so many of us, we live in regions where we have been hibernating in a way from the weather. Especially if you're up in the Northeast or up in Big Sky country, you have dealt with some pretty vicious winter, and we know what Midwest blizzards and storms can do as well. If you're blessed to live in the Sun Belt or out there in the Southwest, then you may not have necessarily had to deal with too precarious of situations whenever the summer unfolds. Although I will say that even here in North Alabama, a little bit of rain and a little bit of snow left to the devices of nature can just cause some pretty chaotic conditions when we don't have ice machines and those little ice truck things that can cause our roads to get cleared away. So even in the SEC region of our United States of America, we can certainly find ourselves at the whims of Mother Nature. And now that we've moved ourselves into summer, while yes, there have been some tornado watches in various regions of the United States already, some flooding, and of course, here comes wildfire and hurricane season up ahead. So it's not like we get to walk away from Mother Nature's fury. We certainly will find ourselves with a pretty consistent temperature, opportunities to get out of our house and do some things. And so for today's episode, I'd really like to talk about maximizing your summer when it comes to the fun, the preparation, the savings, because coming up here in June, our category that we will be covering over in the members only area is going to be income and economics. And I've spent the entire month researching income economics as it really unfolds and begins to work with all of our other 12 categories. And for those of you who are longtime listeners, you're definitely going to recognize our categories of communication, medical, security, mobility, food and water, income and economics, health, community leadership, outdoor skills, situational awareness, defense, and home and family. And I rattle those off in the order for which we will be covering them this year. So number 6, income and economics. And so all the blogs that I have been writing are how does income and economics affect communication or medical or security, mobility, food and water, health, community leadership, outdoor skills, situational awareness, defense, home and family. And as I was putting all of these together, I thought, well, how are we going to actively be involved in our summer in a way that allows us to fully prepare ourselves for the winter? I mean, this is what farmers and people who work the land are pretty consistently thinking about. It's like, great, spring is when we plant, summer is whenever we cultivate the land and help the fruits and vegetables and our future meals and produce on our tables, come so that it's ready for harvest in October's. And so there is a desire to be thinking forward while living in the moment and being present in our lives each and every day. And the summer provides an excellent opportunity to live in that moment because there's so many cool holidays and events that sort of happen all within this little time period between Memorial Day and Labor Day. And the way the United States has set ourselves up is that really is sort of the beginning and end of our summer because so many students, and we are a very driven, family-driven country, we have so many students who get out of school, and then it's like, well, what are we going to do with our kids? Are we going to send them to camps? Are we going to put them in summer school? Are we going to try to find activities for them? Are they going to be involved in sports? And because we're a family-driven country, for the most part, there are some areas in the big cities where they may not necessarily have the same opportunities that the rural areas or the middle America will. I don't call any of our states flyover states. I call them drive-through states because you don't really understand the beauty and the vastness of this country until you drive it. until you have gone through tiny towns in Iowa or Oklahoma or Wyoming, Illinois, Missouri. I mean, some of these places might be considered flyover states by people who are just trying to city hop. But for any of us who've gone on really cool adventures from state park to state park, or from really cool location to another location, like I think in Nebraska somewhere is called Carhenge, where they put cars up on their tails. It made them look like Stonehenge. Like, that's the cool stuff that you get to see. There's one outside of Vegas where people have put these really gigantic rocks on top of each other and painted them really cool. Those are the things that you fly over and don't see, but if you drive through, you definitely see. So if you hear anybody calling certain states flyover states, I would just throw out the idea that they're actually drive-through states, and you understand the beauty of our country whenever you take the time to get off of an interstate, get on some of those 2-lane roads, and go out for an adventure. So let's talk about some fun activities, or how we could be preparing for winter, how we could be saving our money, enjoying family time, utilizing our outdoor opportunities, and we'll do our best to tie these into income and economics as I go through them, but also just realizing that it's summer. You've been hibernating. We are well past Christmas. Hopefully, majority of you have been able to pay off all of those credit card bills that came from the holiday season. And now you're looking at opportunities to create memories with your friends, your family, your loved ones. Let's get out there and let's do something about that, because it's not too far away when we're going to be hibernating again. And I'm in my late 40s, and it just feels like day after day flies by. Like, I literally have no idea how it's already almost June 1st. And my birthday is right around the corner. It feels like it was just Christmas, Super Bowl, and Valentine's Day. So I don't know where the time's going. I think it's disappearing into our smartphones, because life used to move a lot slower. We are well beyond that time, unless you are lucky enough to live in one of those drive-through states where maybe you live in a small town and you're not at the whims and mercy of a growing city like I'm in, where everybody seems like they're starting to ramp up their energy level as far as building their businesses and working so much that we end up losing opportunities to spend quality time with those that we love. So let's discuss enjoying summer activities, because that's what summer means to so many people. Whether you're going to go to the pool, or you're going to go hiking, biking, swimming in the rivers and the lakes and the many different areas that we have in this country that are beautiful, camping, going to national parks, going to your local parks, your beaches, nature reserves. There's this place in middle of Florida I've recently learned about called Silver Springs. Beautiful, just see all the way to the bottom of the water. Just impeccable water down there. Gorgeous manatees swimming around. While they are gigantic beasts, they are about the most adorable little creature you'll ever come across. If you've never seen a manatee in real life, it's like a cuddly teddy bear. It just happens to weigh like 1,000 pounds. They are super adorable, and we're looking forward to going down there at some point and just enjoying that area simply for the beautiful water. And it's a 10-hour drive, but that's what we do in the United States. We hop in cars and we go for trips. Think about Chevy Chase in those, the National Lampoon summer vacation type situations. We may not have the wood-paneled station wagons anymore. We definitely have fancier cars now, but we also have an opportunity to really get ourselves involved in some great summer activities. In the physical and the mental health benefits of spending time outdoors, it cannot be overstated. We have been inside for so long, maybe not getting the activity that we usually do, especially if you're living in a climate that generally tends to be that 40 and below temperature. The desire to go outside and get exercise, or to go to the gym, or to do anything really all that active may have waned. This is your opportunity to step into that, and there's a lot of really great ways that you can do this on a budget. Whether you're looking at some place like what is that place that's in Tennessee? Now, of course, I can't remember it because I'm trying to think about it. I had to pause the mic just so I could Google it real fast. Gatlinburg and Pigeon Forge. Now, I've got a lot of people who are living in and around that area, and they like to call it like redneck Vegas. whatever you want to call it. Like, that can be a very fun area for a lot of people on the East Coast to go visit. And there's a lot of really cool coupon books that you can get your hands on that will give you deals on that stuff. Yes, those areas do raise their prices because they do realize that a lot of tourists are going to roll in. Just like the national parks, while they don't raise their prices, certainly finding any kind of openings for your tent or your RV can be a little bit more difficult because you and a million other people want to go there. But there will be coupon books in and around those areas for shops and different tourist destinations that you could then go and enjoy. Vegas has a lot of these things rattling off all the time. So when you want to go to some of these destinations, I would highly recommend that you really put your attention towards finding some of these coupon books, and you can be able to find ways to make this even cheaper. I mean, the beautiful thing about summer is that the days have been getting longer ever since the equinox. And when the summer solstice hits on June 20th, then it'll be the longest day of the year. And then we start losing sunlight until we get back to the equinox in September. So you really have this sweet spot to hop in your ride, go off with the family, and do some really cool things. And these coupon books can help make them more affordable. Not only that, you could do things in your local area, whether it's just organizing family picnics or barbecues. I know Memorial Day flies right over into 4th of July. You know, if you got Flag Day in there, if you like to celebrate Flag Day, I got my birthday in there. Then there's, of course, the 4th of July, and then there's, nothing really holiday-wise until we get to Labor Day. But those are 3 really big holidays that this country loves to celebrate. Memorial Day into 4th of July into Labor Day. And these are great opportunities to get the family together, do barbecues, plan weekend camping trips to explore things. There's a lot of very interesting things that you could do as far as gardening that I'll start to discuss here in a moment, where you can just really start to cultivate your own land. Even if you've just got a tiny little urban garden, which I just got done writing the blog for, and that will come out in June, where you can take even just the tiniest little piece of space outside and you can really turn it into something beautiful. Your summer is your opportunity to do that. I mean, you could even set up a little mini water park with sprinklers and inflatable pools. I mean, these things are relatively affordable if you go to a big box store. And then you all of a sudden create this really wonderful opportunity for your kids to run around in the backyard, front yard, whatever that looks like. Get the neighborhood kids over, have all the parents, do a potluck. And now all of a sudden you've created this really cool neighborhood family fun event, and you didn't even have to travel anywhere. Most kids don't really care how far away from the house they go. Preferably, to most of them, they would not have to be in a car for 10 hours at all. They just want to have fun, and you want to get them to stop looking at their devices. Getting them outside, having there be events that they can run around and enjoy, that will absolutely get you there. Let's talk about gardening and home maintenance and fitness and health, because we're always preparing for our future. Right? We want to be in the moment. We want to be in the present. We want to be content with what we are achieving right now, but we want to be ambitiously discontent, thinking about all the things that we could be preparing for. It's like being in the present moment with a little bit of your eye on the prize in the future to know that you're prepared. Gardening and home maintenance are great opportunities for you to be able to pull some of that stuff off in the summer. And you can do this very much strategically with your finances. The big box stores will often run deals on mulch and soil and plants. I know we're in the process of doing that right now. We've only lived in our house for a year. We told ourselves we would wait till this summer to really start trying to cultivate our land. My girlfriend's out there putting really cool butterfly and bee plants in a certain area so we can attract some of those little awesome insects, as well as laying down tons of this black mulch so she can really feel proud of the yard that she has. I'm out there mowing it and weed eating it on a regular basis. And now we're starting to think about different ways that we'll be able to garden next year. And how can we start getting our landscaping done so that next year there's a little bit of maintenance on the landscaping, but then we can turn our attention towards the gardening. And whether you want to plant a vegetable garden so that you can have fresh produce throughout the summer, maybe you're even going to can some or dehydrate some for the winter, of which for those of you who are members, I just created some pretty cool trainings that have released this month, in the month of May. Over in where I normally would write the blogs, I've also created some trainings, and those get released on Wednesdays. And so I created one around canning, and I believe one was about dehydrating. There's a few that some of us in the team have helped create. And so I'm really excited about those because not only do you get to eat fresh produce now, but you can preserve some for winter use. And a lot of us are probably already preserving some of our fruits and vegetables that we're just getting from our grocery store for winter use, especially if we live in very rural areas where weather can stop us from being able to get to the grocery store. I used to live somewhere in Indiana where if a good storm came in, you were not getting down our half-mile driveway. It did a bunch of twists and turns. It was all gravel. It went down and up and around. And it was insane. And if it snowed really hard, that was it. We weren't going to school for a week. Well, everybody else was, but we weren't. So I remember us having a pretty vast vegetable garden where my mom could then can and preserve all of those delicious treats straight from our garden into a canning process. Now we're eating those things over the winter. Additionally, income and economic wise, because of all of these holidays coming up, Memorial Day, 4th of July, Labor Day, big sales at big box stores. And so you're going to have an opportunity to get some home maintenance tasks done. Checking your roof, cleaning your gutters, insulating your windows, preparing for those colder months, and items that might be more expensive in the winter because they're more desired then, whether it be a generator or whether it be any kind of heaters or fans, any of those kind of items will often be on sale at these big box stores. So it's your opportunity to go out there and get yourself some new yard maintenance tools and start really preparing your yard, one, to enjoy in the summer, keeping that grass mowed, keeping the insects away, and also being able to think about what you'll be able to do in the colder months so that you've already purchased some of these things. And sales are an excellent opportunity. Love it or hate it, Amazon's a huge part of our lives, and I know that they run a pretty huge sale in the middle of summer as well. And this is an opportunity for you to get your hands on some of these items at a reduced price so that it doesn't impact your pocketbook so much. So then we got ourselves outside and we're doing gardening, we're doing home maintenance, but now we're thinking fitness and health. All right, we got one member specifically up in South Dakota who loves to post his physical training PT exercises that he does on a daily basis on our feed. And I love just popping over there, taking a screenshot of some of these and just making that something I do to warm up my body each morning. It's pretty intense, some of the things that he does, but the more I've done them, the more my body's been able to acclimate to doing them. So we want to be thinking about our fitness and health. And if you're like, I don't know what would be a good thing to do each day, you just go over to our members only feed and you'll know who I'm talking about if you're a member because he posts them quite frequently. And just go over there and take a screenshot and pop that up on your phone and say, okay, let's just do this every couple days. Anything is better than nothing. If you're not feeling like you're in very good shape and you get winded walking to the mailbox, if something goes sideways in your life and you're the person struggling to breathe as you're trying to carry a go bag down the street to get somewhere else you would want to be, you don't want your physical body to be what holds you back. You definitely don't want your mindset to be what holds you back. So use the summer and the warm weather to start a fitness routine. And something that could be continued indoors during winter. Most of these PT exercises that I just mentioned on our members only feed are absolutely things that you're able to do inside your garage, anywhere you might have space over the winter, so you can still maintain physical activity. I'm a big proponent of not letting myself put on a bunch of pounds over winter because then I just have to try to figure out a way to get rid of them in the spring and the summer. I'd rather just maintain that all the way through each year, realizing that I know for a lot of us, we're thinking, what's 1 or 2 pounds a year? Well, let's say you're 20 years old and you weigh 200 pounds and you put on 1 or 2 pounds a year. By the time you're 50 years old, you could be looking at 30 to 60 pounds that you've put on. That's a lot of weight that your body now has to figure out how to use that's putting pressure on your knees and your joints. So start coming up with a fitness and health routine now. And then just slowly integrate it. I do a lot of coaching in my other business on this stuff, and I highly recommend to all my clients, in fact, I push them toward this, that you don't add 7 new things in one day when you're trying to get healthy and fit. Just take on one new thing every 1, 2, 3, 4 weeks until you've turned that into a habit, then bring in the new thing. Rather than trying to do 7 new things in one day, none of it's a habit. You get frustrated, you miss one day, or you miss a couple of those things over the course of a week, then you just stop doing it altogether. Highly recommend just adding one new thing. Hey, I'm going to walk 3,000 steps today. Habituate that. 3 weeks later, it's like, okay, now I'm also going to do some knee raises, or I'm going to do some push-ups. And then slowly but surely, if you do it this way, by the end of the year, you've added 12 new things into your life if you're going on the month plan. And you are so much further ahead than had you tried to do all 12 of those things right out the gate, gotten frustrated, ran out of energy, ran out of time, and next thing you know, you're not doing any of them, and it's a year later, and you're right where you were a year before. So be thinking about easy ways that you can slowly integrate changes into your life rather than trying to overwhelm yourself with a bunch of changes at once. And again, going back to healthy eating habits, seasonal fruits and vegetables. I know for a fact that we can get fruits and vegetables from so many different places in this country, but it doesn't mean that those strawberries in December are sweet or tasty or even look good. We are now in harvesting season for so many. We just had a strawberry festival in Coleman. These things were like the size of my hand. It's beautiful when you're eating fruits that are seasonal, vegetables that are seasonal, that are happening right now. Get yourself involved in eating healthy while these fruits and vegetables are actually in their harvesting season. Now let's talk about how you might be able to do some budget-friendly activities, some DIY projects, even saving some money on your energy. Electric bills can be astronomical, and we're very mindful to lock all of our thermostats so they don't go below 75. That's good for us. Some of y'all prefer that 68 degrees. That's not us. We want it to be 75, even 80 in some rooms throughout the summer. We're fine with wearing less clothes. In the winter is when our bill gets up to $300 because we get cold easily in our house. But you can go off and buy cooling fans, closing your blinds during peak sun hours, maintaining your air conditioning units. We just had some people come out yesterday, cleaned up our air conditioning units, talking about UV lights and how we might have, some switches that need to be fixed and replaced. We keep up with our air conditioning, our heating units, these certain things in the house that if they go sideways can cost us $5,000, $10,000, $20,000 to replace. Well, I don't know about y'all, but I ain't got $5,000, $10,000, $20,000 just sitting around to buy a new air conditioning unit. By paying this company $300 a year to come out and look at my electrical, look at my plumbing, and look at my heating and air twice a year is a very good savings for me to know that a professional is looking over my stuff. So you would want to be looking at things like that. Using fans, turning your air conditioner up and down depending on what rooms you're in or whether you're even home at all. Like, we don't want it to get to be 90, then the air conditioner has to work real hard to get us back down into that, 80 to 75 range. So we do keep it within a certain range, but we are not trying to just run this thing all day long. And certainly at night, we're mindful of making sure that it is set appropriately. Those are some really great ways for you to be monitoring your income and economics as you also maintain a comfortability in your house. I love natural light. We open up the blinds when the sun's not beating right down into the windows. Now we're not flipping on light switches all day long. We're real mindful to make sure that we always turn lights off when we leave the house. I get that most of us are running on these new bulbs that don't use nearly as much energy, but it doesn't necessarily mean that I still want to be pulling from the grid. And if you live out in the Southwest, you know all about pulling from the grid, rolling blackouts, and how hard it is to maintain a comfortable temperature in your home. If there's a way for you to add some kind of covering over your windows, insulate those so that you're not losing so much of your air conditioning just through the walls, you want to be looking into that because that can drastically change your bill. I remember getting a $1,000 bill in California when I lived out there one time. That was a very hard pill to swallow, and I was not financially prepared for that. Also, again, when we talked about going outdoors and doing activities, when we're looking for saving money during the summer, my community has these really cool free outdoor concerts. There's farmers markets. There's these little music festivals. if you live in a community that does a lot of these kind of community events, be looking for ways to just get out there and see your neighbors, see your friends, see your family, and doing it in a way that, one, gets you active and out of the house, two, gets you socialized, because a lot of us, we hibernate, we don't see people in the winter, and then you just get to go out and enjoy a really cool festival or a little summer outdoor concert. And we don't really even care if the band is good. I don't. I just want there to be some music in the background. Maybe there's a couple food trucks or somebody running a barbecue spit. And I'm just going to get over there and just have some fun and just enjoy seeing the friends and the family and the community out there really having themselves just a joyous time. Because while we can love the road trips that get us going out somewhere, and by all means, go see Yellowstone, go see Mount Rushmore, go see the Grand Canyon, go see the Smoky Mountains, and there's tons of really cool places. Hell, if you got a motorcycle, Tail of the Dragon. If you haven't hit that before, I can promise you, it's like 100+ some odd curves in a very small stretch of area. It's a blast, but there's going to be times where these little staycations that have been popularized over the last decade or two really do bring a lot of joy. And of course, you got the DIY projects, whether it's home efficiency, weatherproofing windows and doors. There's going to be some really cool stuff that you can just do to your house. Take the opportunity now to do these things. If you live in an extremely hot climate, maybe you're trying to knock these things out in that March, April, May window. If not, you're in that June, July, August window where it's 100 degrees. And now maybe you're looking at some of these DIY projects being done at the latter end of September, October, beginning of November, when the temperatures have more acclimated to something that's comfortable. If you are outside, by all means, make sure you're hydrating yourself. Because I can tell you, is that if you drink once you feel thirsty, it's already too late. And then we'll close up with this. Summer is about quality family time. It's about learning new life skills, new joyous skills, new kid skills. I used to love going to summer camp and learning how to start a fire out in the wilderness, or how to set up one of those little rabbit traps, or how to just learn to swim in a lake and play on the canoe, and arts and crafts and all these cool things. You can use this summer break to teach your kids these valuable skills: cooking, gardening, basic home repairs. Get them to stop looking at their devices and come out and help you. They may not enjoy it in the moment, but I can promise you all the things that my dad taught me on the farm back in the day have come to play in my adult life in one way or another. No, I was not the biggest fan of being told to get up at 6 a.m. to go shovel a bunch of chicken poo in the barn. That was not what I wanted to do on my June morning, let alone on my December morning. But yet I learned the value of taking care of another creature, of maintaining the barn, of keeping cleanliness, keeping the animals well fed, maintaining the fence, mowing the lawn. It taught me work ethic. It taught me very valuable skills I use now as a homeowner. And that's generally where we want our kids to get to: financial stability, home ownership. And yes, I realize that our society is not exactly nurturing the American dream much anymore, and we really have to figure out cool ways of making it happen for ourselves. I'm thinking a podcast episode in the future about how college doesn't bring the promises it used to, and there's a lot of really cool blue-collar jobs out there that are absolutely financially beneficial for our youngsters to be getting into. Here in my community in North Alabama, the high school programs that get these kids into computer sciences, automotive, mechanical, HVAC, plumbing, heating, air, electrical. I mean, these are jobs that you can definitely make six figures if you're motivated enough to start your own business and you're willing to put yourself out there and start cultivating that kind of community relationship and involvement. You can easily make yourself a very, very good living and not put yourself $50,000, $60,000, $100,000 in debt going to college, hoping to get a job that may not even be in existence anymore by the time you graduate. So there's a lot of really cool skills that you can start teaching your kids now about self-sufficiency, about taking care of the home, about taking care of fruits and vegetables in the garden, and definitely being able to cook. One of the biggest reliances that we want to step away from is that reliance on fast food and all those eateries on our main boulevard here in our towns. Those places don't care about your belt line. You do. And one day, the 30 to 60 pounds I warned you that you could put on over the course of 20, 30 years, you might be putting some of that stuff on in a couple years simply because you've run out of time to make food. Well, if you learn some really quick cooking tips, maybe it's even just bulk cooking on a Sunday afternoon when you have time. Now, all of a sudden, you're not trying to throw together meals on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday when the kids got to get to practice and you're running late from school and the house needs to be cleaned and there's lawns to be mowed. There are ways to figure this stuff out. I'm a big fan of mowing my lawn on a weekday night right as the sun's about to set, right around that dusk area. So now my Saturday isn't always about doing yard work. So be thinking about all the cool things you can be doing with your time throughout the week that could maximize your availability to have fun on the weekends. And then, showing these kids these valuable skills, sending them off to a couple camps. You can do family game nights. You can do movie nights, outdoor activities, educational trips to museums, zoos, historical sites. There's so much going on around us. Just use that smartphone to point you in the direction of something fun. Point yourself into the direction of an event that the family will remember, because that's what we want to create. We want to create memories. We want to create good times. We want to create laughter. And it takes a little bit of planning and a little bit of thought. But if we're willing to do that, that's how we're going to build up our family love and unity. That's how we can build it up with our friends. That's how we get neighbors to know neighbors. Whether we're talking about enjoying summer activities, preparing for winter, saving money, spending quality time, all these are opportunities. I want to encourage you to take advantage of the warm weather, create these lasting memories, but at the same time with an eye on the future. What might you want to have available in the winter? Look back at this last winter. What was something that you wish you had in December, but it was sold out of the stores or it was way too expensive? Is there an opportunity for you to get a hold of that now? Could you work a little bit more at work, make a few more sales calls, take on a few more cars in the mechanic shop in order to be able to bring in a little bit more income? And at the end of the summer, you're doing something wildly fun with your family. I want to just remind you that while income and economics are important and we want to be saving money for, in our 401ks or our Roth IRAs or for retirement or for our kids' college fund, which again, we'll do an episode about how maybe that college fund doesn't need to be so vast if you send them to a place like they have here called Calhoun that really teaches skills where that somebody can go in for 2 years, come out with multiple certifications and go straight into a job that makes them really good money. Maybe we need to stop thinking that a college degree somehow places us up into a different stratosphere, a different tier of achievement, and that means we're going to make more money, when I know plenty of people with master's and bachelor's degrees who are working at Enterprise answering phones. There are other opportunities for us to teach our kids valuable skills, and it starts in their youth when you get them out of the house, you get them off of their devices, and you get your own face out of that device. Because while it's a really great tool to feed us information for cool things to go do, living our lives vicariously through others who are living their lives on social media is no way to actually live your life. You have the opportunity to go off and achieve amazing things in your life, but you have to be willing to put yourself out there. Save up a little bit of money, make some really cool plans, go do the darn thing. Because there's going to be a day in the very near future where we're going to be all stuck in our houses, freezing cold. And thankfully, football season's there to distract us from the bitter wind chill outside. But it's in the summer that we have an opportunity to really create some amazing memories, to prepare for our future, and just enjoy life. Come out of your caves, get into the sunshine, be ready to live life. If there's anything that I want you to learn from this episode, it's that sharing it with friends and family and loved ones, that is one of the coolest things about summer. Go to some concerts, enjoy Memorial Day, 4th of July, Labor Day. Go out there and just do the darn thing. And when you're ready to build the skills, the network, and the confidence to be ready for whatever comes next, join us at AmericanContingency.com. We've got trainings, we've got blogs, we've got people, we've got a network that is here to help you figure out things that, sure, you can go watch a couple YouTube videos on, but do you want to actually talk to a leading voice in that field who could actually give you some actionable steps to go off and make your life even better than it already is? AmericanContingency.com provides that opportunity. We're here when you're ready. We'll keep the fire going for you, and maybe a nice ice-cold beverage in the fridge, because it is summer after all. So, come find your way to us. We'll be waiting. Bye-bye.